Thomas Joscelyn is Senior Fellow at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies and a Senior Editor of the Long War Journal. He has covered these groups for years and is one of the top voices in looking at these groups. So, open question for you, Tom. What do you make of this situation right now?
Well, I think ISIS has played this very skillfully. If you think about it, they've embroiled two different nations, two sovereign nations in a hostage crisis, both Japan and Jordan. And that's a major coup for them in and of themselves. You know, no matter what happens or how this plays out, they basically now got the whole world watching this hostage crisis involving, two powerful nations, strong nations.
Was it a mistake to even open the question of trading Rishawi for this pilot?
The problem is, in these situations, it's almost impossible not to fall into this trap. This is something we've seen for years, where the jihadis have gotten the better end of these deals for years. Everywhere from Africa through Pakistan, Afghanistan, the hostage swaps time and again benefit the jihadis. So they know exactly what they're doing. They're setting the trap beforehand, and it's almost impossible for a nation state not to walk into it.
So, is this a Pandora's box that we can't close at this point? Because, we talk about the Bergdahl swap for the Taliban members and other swaps that have happened over time with other nations and being paid off and all of that. They've got a ton of money as a result of some of these deals that they've made. Is it too late to ever turn back?
I don't know if it's too late, but it's going to be difficult. The problem is they're already negotiating with a number of nations around the globe. If you think back to last year in Mosul, when ISIS took over Mosul, they kidnapped 49 hostages at the the Turkish consulate in Mosul, and that included women and children. And the Turkish intelligence negotiated their freedom somehow. We don't even know what they gave up for those hostages. But what you can see is time and again from Africa, again all the way throughout the world, you see nations negotiating with jihadis in these hostage swaps. We negotiated, the U.S. negotiated with jihadis to free, Bo Bergdahl for 5 senior Taliban commanders. So this happens time and time again. I don't know how you're going to get the tide to swing back the other way to say we're not going to do these types of deals.
How much significance, if any, do you give to the fact that what we're seeing is different than what we've seen in the past? In the past, we've seen the orange jumpsuit hostages, and most of those stories have ended in complete tragedy. And you have Kenji Goto, the Japanese journalist, who's also part of this whole deal. As you say, they've got 2 countries now roped into this negotiation, and he's holding a picture of this pilot. That has led Jordan to raise the legitimate question, is he alive, and why are you not showing him to us? They just released an audio recording by Kenji Goto saying, you better come do this swap because he's only got a couple more hours. What do you read into all that?
Well, it's tough to say. The hostage could be dead already, unfortunately, or he could be alive. The thing here is it's not unusual for ISIS to want to negotiate for a high-profile jihadi who's in jail. Remember last year with the 2 American journalists who were killed, the guys who were talking about in the orange jumpsuits. Originally, ISIS wanted to trade them for Afia Siddiqui, who's known as Lady Al-Qaeda, and she's here in a prison in the U.S. And the reason they wanted that is because it'd be a huge propaganda coup for them to say, look at how we freed this lady jihadist from jails, and the Americans are weak and they succumbed to us. That's what they want to do here, too. So it wouldn't surprise me either way. Either the hostage could have already been killed, or he may be alive for a potential high-profile swap.
And Rishawi worked for Zarqawi, which has now developed from Al-Qaeda in Iraq into ISIS, correct?
Right. Zarqawi's organization in Iraq was really the mother organization for ISIS and the Newsroom, which is Al-Qaeda in Syria.
Huge. Thank you so much, Tom. Great to have you in studio today. Thanks for coming in.